podcast and Mornings with Matt, where we discuss the connection between life and acting. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. Today we are talking about destroying your limiting beliefs, and we've got an amazing guest on today to help us with this topic, Anela Tayan, everybody. Big round of applause. Yeah. How are you, Anela?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
Oh, you know what? We are happy to be alive. So thank you so much for being on the show. This is amazing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about your connection to the studio. Is very cool. You were watching the show one day, right? And then that's how we got connected?
Yes, I watched maybe like 4 weeks ago, and you guys reached out to me immediately right afterwards.
Yeah. And you won a book, right?
I did receive a book.
Good. Well, awesome. And so I'm very interested in your story because you grew up in one town, you moved over to Hawaii for a while, then went to West Virginia, but then you made the decision to move to Phoenix to launch your career, right?
Yes, I did.
So talk to me about that choice. Like, what was it about Phoenix that made you want to come here?
Well, originally, I didn't have modeling and influencing and acting in mind. I kind of just moved here just to kind of start fresh. Growing up in a small town, I didn't have that many opportunities, and I had a family member live out here previously, and she offered me to come live with her, and I took that opportunity, and I moved out here by myself with her and just started over.
Yeah. So the modeling and influencing, this is relatively new for you?
Yes, I've actually started in the beginning of the pandemic.
Is when you started your influencing?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? So it's been what, like 6 months?
Yes, in 6 months.
So in 6 months, all this has happened in 6 months?
Yes.
100+ shoots ranging from commercials, music videos, modeling clothes for fashion, e-commerce work, personal content, and you just signed with Priority Talent, who we love. Woo! Amazing. So you've done all this in 6 months since the pandemic.
Yes.
Incredible. And look at the following you already have. I mean, you've got momentum, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible. So what would you attribute to your success over the last 6 months?
Just a lot of patience. I've had a lot of patience and hard work, and for some reason when the pandemic hit, I kind of got hit with like a wave of anxiety, of uncertainty, and then it kind of just occurred to me that, like, you know, it's not set in stone that we're always going to be able to have everything that we want whenever we want it. So I was kind of like, I want to make something happen.
Yeah, amazing. So with all these jobs, did you do any of them for free?
I did a lot of free work, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I figured as much, being new, that you'd have to do that. I wrote about that in the book. I firmly believe in you do work, you put yourself out there, and you work for free right away, because essentially when you first start, that's what you're worth, you know. And then with a spirit of giving and a spirit of love, it's going to come back to you. Mm-hmm. You know, we demonstrated that during COVID when we did a couple of castings for basically free or a loss, because there were no castings happening. So we're like, hey, we need to do something to inject some life into this business right now and into the marketplace in general. And I think that was a little bit of a confidence boost for people, because we were the first ones to have any kind of a casting since COVID here locally, and then after that we saw them sort of pour in. So that's very interesting.
It was. I was gonna say it was cool adapting to during that time, and I know that's not the main thing you were saying, but there was we did one casting where it was outside, like a car service, like basically
right.
Like you texted when you got there, like, and then we were like, okay, yeah, cool, we'll bring you in a sec. Like, it was just kind of cool, like a lot like that delivery type process.
It was amazing. I wish we had something like gummy bears or something we could give on their way out. Would have been a lot of fun.
Thank you for calling Phoenix Casting. Are you here for your audition?
So good. So you talked a bit about your anxiety. You said that you had, and I think a lot of us felt that way. Is that something that came up through the pandemic, or is that something that you deal with all the time, and is a part of who you are and what you work through?
It's part of who I am and what I work through. I do suffer from social anxiety, but I kind of made it a point this year that there's a lot of things I want to do, and that's the main thing that's been holding me back. So I kind of made it a goal of mine where I started out and I was like, I'm going to do 5-7 shoots a week, and I'm going to force myself to be accustomed to new people and new environments, and I'm just going to suck it up and, learn how to communicate with people, learn how to be comfortable and how to find peace within myself, and not to worry about what other people think about me, but rather what I'm capable of doing.
Sure. And so it's all about what you focus on depends on how big the anxiety is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about the idea of social anxiety and what that means in your life, because I think you could be an inspiration to a lot of people, long term, obviously, but even short term here. What you've done since the pandemic is really cool and very incredible, and it landed you on our show, which is great. And so if you think about, I would love to hear what that means to you, because I would think that I actually suffer from a little bit of the same thing, truthfully. So what is social anxiety to you? What does that mean?
Social anxiety for me is I have so much nerves when it comes to going to meet someone, going to talk to anyone. When I am usually in a big social setting, I tend to kind of shut down a little bit, and I can't focus on one conversation. I'm listening to this person's conversation over here, and I can't seem to tune in. So it's kind of hard for me to feel as if I essentially fit in mostly.
Right. So then to get over that, you said you scheduled some shoots and have been saying yes to things often. And so then when you would go to these social gatherings or anytime that there was people around, would you make a focus to try to be more outgoing, to try to be, more connected, or would you just try to listen more and be more present? What was your focus?
That's definitely something I'm still working on. I try to make it a goal in which when I go to a social event or a networking event, to go there for the purpose of try and make a few connections. So even if I don't have the energy in me to stay for 4 or 5 hours the entire time, I'm going to go with the intention of meeting someone and being able to form some sort of friendship or work friendship where we can do something together creatively.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you say, so here's the interesting thing too, because I really believe in what you're saying. This is for everyone out there. When we say connections, I'm going to go there and I'm trying to find some connections. What we don't mean, and hopefully you don't mean this, but what we don't mean is I'm looking for some people that can help me. Yeah. Instead, you're looking for people that who do I connect with? Like a connection is who do I connect with? So maybe people who share my same vision and values, and they're out there, but I'll never know it unless I kind of go out there and try to find them. And you'll feel a certain chemistry between certain people, and you're like, hey, I really get along with this girl or this guy, and creatively I think that there's something that we might be able to do together and benefit one another, and it's a win-win, and that's how you go out and make connections. Would you agree?
I agree completely.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you've gotten through a little bit of the book, is that right?
Yes, I have gone through a little bit of the book.
What do you think? I'm sure that means you got through Get Out There, which is chapter 1. So what are your thoughts so far?
Oh, I definitely appreciate it. I love the book so far. It's a lot of things that I've picked up on already, but it's good to be able to read it and recognize hey, if this keeps getting brought up multiple times when I'm trying to research about this, then I should probably, tap into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like you're definitely on the right track too, with the mindset and what you're doing and overcoming certain limitations. I mean, that's awesome. What questions do you have for us in regard to that? Because I know you wanted to speak a little bit about the limiting beliefs and that type of stuff. And let's see if we can help you continue to launch forward.
So I did have a question on what was your opinion on talent versus skill?
Talent versus skill. Well, I speak on this all the time. I think talent is great. Congratulations, but it's pretty much useless without skill. So if you must focus on your skills, you must focus on getting better and on improvement. So if you walk in the door and you're more talented than everybody else in the room, that's great. But within a certain amount of time, whoever's going to work the hardest in the room is going to eventually lap you. And you may have more talent than them, but if they have more skill for their talent and they have more work ethic, then the person who gathers more skill is going to eventually win. So yeah, skill 100% over talent. The other thing is talent. If you just call something, what is my talent? Talent could be considered God-given. It could be considered like something that was like bestowed upon you. And I think people have certain inclinations toward things. Like if I was born, physically bigger than other people, okay, maybe I've got a little bit more of an advantage toward a sporting event or something. If I was born, very symmetrical, maybe I've got more of an inclination toward modeling. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to always stay ahead of another person who maybe is eating right, who is exercising better than me, who is doing the things that really need to be done so that they can model or they can be that athlete at the next level. And eventually skill always wins. So I say always focus on skill, and skill is going to enhance your talent. So whatever talent you already have, the skill is going to multiply it.
I'd like to throw down a quote, if that's cool.
Hit it, bro.
This is a Will Smith quote. I love this quote. So he says, "The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams, who want to do things. Talent you have naturally, skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft." Will Smith.
Yeah. And Will Smith is known for, he doesn't believe he's the best looking guy in the room. He doesn't believe he's the most talented guy in the room. Mm-hmm. But he's said publicly, if he gets on a treadmill next to somebody else, the other person is going to jump off first, or he's going to die trying to beat them. And I love that too. Yeah, Will Smith's a huge inspiration. Mm-hmm. So cool, very cool. What do you think about all that? You agree?
I completely agree.
So what are you doing right now to focus on your skill and your building of skill?
Currently, I'm just working on some projects that I have for the next 3 more months, and I'm going to the gym. I'm doing online acting classes here at the house.
Great.
I'm making sure to continuously do shoots every week to stay in practice. But yeah.
That's excellent. So she's absolutely building, growing, continuing to thrive through developing skill. And everyone can see there's a process here that looks like, hey, overnight success. It's not. This is hours and hours and hours and hours of working for free and doing things that other people are not willing to do. And then eventually we show some kind of a result. That's very cool. All right, what else you got for us?
It's a quote I have written down.
All right.
So there's a saying, you become what you believe. Do you find it more practical to build your reality or to wait and find yourself?
Is it more practical to build your reality or wait to find yourself? I think it's a simultaneous process. I think you've got to see where you want to go. You have to have a very specific vision and know what you want and who you want to be. And so you've got to see that future reality, believe it to be true before it's true, and then live into it. But as you're moving toward that thing, you should be constantly trying to go inward and figure out who you are, because most often, I would say almost all the time, whatever you thought you wanted up front is going to change slightly. So the vision that I had out here now all of a sudden the same idea, like the same truth might come true, but it's probably going to come true in a different way than I thought if I'm being guided by spirit and guided by who I really am and what's real to me.
Yeah, it's interesting because and I'll just go quick on this, but when I first started here, I was mopping the floors for about a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
And that's all I was doing. I was coming in, I was learning, taking class, whatever. But that was my responsibility, right? And ever since I was young, I was like, I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna be an actor. That's all I'm gonna do. Like, I don't know how to get from point A to point B, but I'm gonna be there.
Sure.
and kind of like you're saying, like that spirit, that guide, and the development in the middle of all that has turned me into more of a production background, where I found this marriage and this love through being on this show, through being in class, through doing shows, comedy shows with you guys, where I still get to be an actor, I still get to act, and I still get to love that thing. But now I've fallen super in love with production as well through the guide and the spirit, and finding a niche, finding somewhere where you can help.
And Joey, I'd like to add on that I think also what you're saying is there's an interesting different path for you than maybe what you thought.
Yeah.
Because you're actually acting at a higher level than most people act on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you're doing it through a particular service that you're getting really skilled at, and it's opening you up for huge opportunities.
Yeah.
For you to be a part of something that's bigger than you.
For sure. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah. Cuz I actually really believe Joey's going to be the next big huge George Clooney type actor. I really do. So, I mean, look at him. I can't believe this guy's single.
I cannot believe
gosh.
it.
Here it comes. Here's the segment.
It's unreal.
He's so cute. All right. So all right, let's move on. So we got I want to talk a little bit about the limiting beliefs here, because that was the title of our show. And I know you wrote down here, what steps do you take or have you taken to destroy your limiting beliefs? I would like to ask you that question first and foremost, and then I'll answer after you.
That's a big question.
Yeah, no, you put it down.
Toward you guys.
He flipped it on you.
Bam.
Well, because here's the thing. I believe you have. I think you probably had some limiting beliefs, and you've made some big choices recently. And I would love to help you go even bigger and open up your mind. But right now, I'd like you to acknowledge and take the win and say, okay, what steps have you really done already to destroy some limiting beliefs that maybe you had of yourself?
I had a lot of beliefs, like coming from a small town, there's kind of like this very limiting perspective that, like, you have to go to college, you have to get your 4-year degree. You shouldn't try to get a career in which you don't necessarily need that 4-year degree for. Like, certifications were not okay. Getting like acting courses, modeling, like programs done, that was like a no-go. So me going out of my way to basically not do what I grew up to be the normal,
Mm-hmm.
and moving out here and completely being shown so many brand new things and so many different ways to do things, it opened up my eyes. I feel like I have a lot more freedom. There's definitely a lot more opportunities, and I have a fear of if I don't take them, I'm going to regret it.
So what is the grand vision? Where do you see yourself?
I fell in love with commercial modeling. I love commercial modeling, commercial acting. I just started the last 2 months getting an education through FCI Fashion School,
Mm-hmm.
and I started modeling, and then I've fallen into acting, styling, creative directing, influencing, blogging, all of it in 6 months. So I'm kind of I have full range right now, and I can, yeah.
So what's possible for you? Do you believe you're going to travel the world?
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Originally, when I moved to Arizona, I hit up all the national parks. I hit up all the state parks. I'm a huge hiking, river, kayaking person, and I would love to travel.
So did you write about it? Did you post pictures? I mean, were you already influencing at that point?
I was posting pictures. Actually, 3 years ago, I was pretty big in the powerlifting community.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
I know that was kind of like a section of my life I decided to close off and get slimmer. And
All right, that's great that you closed it off, but we're about to reopen that.
Ooh.
So you were huge in the powerlifting. Tell me about the powerlifting community and how big were you?
I was right now I'm like 123. I was like 186 when I moved here to Arizona.
What? That's crazy. And so did you competed on the national level?
I didn't get to go to that level because I did a rack pull of a 450 and I got so afraid I was going to get a hernia. So that was quits. So I only did a few local competitions at that time, but in the East Coast wise, I was really big in the powerlifting and bodybuilding community. I loved talking to people. I loved hyping up their PRs, their personal records. Really big about that.
Okay, so as someone who works out a lot, obviously myself, I got to ask you, what is a rack pull?
Oh my gosh.
So you have the standard like deadlift. So basically, a rack pull would be coming up from a little bit underneath your knees and up.
Okay.
So like a 3/4 deadlift.
Dang, and you did 400 and what?
450.
Nice.
Dang.
That's impressive.
I mean, really what we've learned here is that she is a grinder, man.
Uh-huh.
Just all over the place. She started in the pandemic. She has all these different fields. Brian, we can only have one of our cameras on at a time. So when I'm talking, like I can't put you on the screen, even though I want to.
Wait, we can cut to your workout here in a minute.
All right, I'll work out. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that takes a lot of drive to do all that.
Right.
And especially like for powerlifting, weightlifting, any of that takes head game.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
Anela, did you already have a bit of a following from your powerlifting days?
Yeah, growing up until now, I've been trying to find some sort of passion or passions that I can like latch onto. I think
Yeah.
it's a way for me to feel secure in my anxiety. So I did powerlifting for a good 2-3 years or so. And then after that, I got really involved in the art scene, but I recently stopped about a year ago. But I'm still writing, I interview artists for here locally in Phoenix too. So I kind of transitioned to that. So I'm kind of all over the place.
No, that's awesome. But what I'm saying is, like, did you already have a bunch of followers on Instagram and whatnot that followed you from your powerlifting days?
Yes.
So you didn't gain this huge following in 6 months. You already had a bunch of them, and then now you've kind of like multiplied it.
Yeah. Originally, when I moved here to Arizona last March 2019, I was sitting at around 5,000, 6,000, and
Yeah.
just within the pandemic time alone, the last 6 months, I've like 30% of my following strictly in the Phoenix Scottsdale area. So I gained like 3,000, 4,000 followers in the last 6 months.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And here's the thing too, though. At the same time, I this goes back to success does not happen overnight, right? So you are now into the acting, modeling, and whatnot. You've done the work physically to understand what your body's capable of, how to put your body into certain shape, how to do certain things. You did have a baseline of a bit of a following, somewhat of an influence already, and then people are going to be interested in your journey and in your transition. So this all makes perfect sense to me, but it's also one of those things I'm adamant about trying to help people understand that it doesn't come easy. Like it's not about, and you don't want it to. It's not about easy. You know, it's about putting in the work and understanding that whatever I do to the 100%.
Yeah. Based on that, I just have a question for you. So how have your previous followers from the powerlifting, how have they stayed engaged during your transition to the arts? Like, what were their reactions?
Well, I did powerlifting, and then I kind of went MIA for a long time, and then I came back, and I was like 60 pounds lighter. So I lost a lot of followers actually in the time being that I just wasn't on Instagram. I took a lot of time off, and I was trying to figure out what I liked and what I didn't like and what was realistic for me. And but a lot of my powerlifting fans that still follow me, I'm very petite, and I get called out for being scrawny.
That's hilarious. Do you have your old pictures still up of your powerlifting days?
No.
You took them all down?
I gained more of a following, and I went ahead and I tried to get rid of all the swollen photos.
Well, Bray Lee Bell, one of your friends, she said since growing up, says she used to be a crazy lifter, and she's definitely telling the truth, because when they worked out together, she was always tired.
Hilarious. That's very cool. All right, so going back into to the limiting beliefs here, I'd say on our end, you know, this is something that I can tell you since the day we began our studio. I've always focused on this thing, which is constant and never-ending improvement. It's a Tony Robbins saying, "Kanai," constant and never-ending improvement, and we've talked about that since day one. So I had a big vision for our studio, and this is back in 2007, January 1st, 2007. It was in my parents' living room. I sat down with the 3 other people that were going to be a part of the company. Brian was one of them at the time, and my wife was another one. So there were 2 others, and basically we sat there and we just dreamed, and we dreamed with a pencil and a piece of paper, and I still have those notes from that very first meeting, and we dreamed big. And now I can tell you where we already are is bigger than that dream, but the dream has shifted and changed. So back then, I definitely had limiting beliefs of what we were capable of because we've already surpassed what we dreamed of back then. And so now, one of my thoughts is the way to get over your limiting beliefs is to be constantly changing and evolving and updating your goals. Yes, that is us,
Oh,
the original core 4.
Wow.
Is that up live here, Joey?
Yeah, I threw it up
Cool.
live.
All right, so this is a photo of me, my wife right behind me. That's little Brian Sweeney up in
Hey,
the
guys.
front, and my sister Kim, and we're the 4 that started the company, the Deering Acting Studio, and we were just 4 kids with a dream, and we were operating out of my dad's doctor's office lobby. I moved my wife into my parents' house, so when we got married, we lived in my parents' house. We had no closet. We just had like a clothing rack. And we were really happy. You know? We were just so happy to be married, and we were happy to have a business, and we were happy to do what we were doing. As a matter of fact, I had 2 other jobs that I would do before I would go to work for the studio. The studio made negative money the first couple months because I had no idea how to run a business, truthfully. And so, you know, we kind of learned on the fly, and it was a big deal for me the day I got to release the other jobs and make this my full-time thing. Like, that was a big deal.
Well, and I just want to throw this out there because this always stuck out to me. You paid those other 3, Brian included, way before you ever paid yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so you worked those other 2 jobs and you didn't pay yourself, but you paid them.
We were in the
that's
negative.
Crazy.
We were in the negative.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But the belief was there. You know, so I didn't have I did have, I guess, a limiting belief of what I was capable of, because now I'm like, whoa, dude, you're capable of way more than you thought you were. But I did have a belief that was beyond where I was.
Sure.
So I think part of the thing here that will help us to grow and expand always is to set like 10 years down the line, make it big, but then go backwards and be realistic as you go. So I could look year over year and say that we've I think almost every year we've increased, we have built upon what we built on the year before. Now this year we're hustling because of the pandemic to try to beat last year, but it's tough. We had our best year in the history of our company last year.
Yeah.
And then we got hit by this huge pandemic. So but
well, and we had the best first 2 months we've ever had this year.
Which helped.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. but that's crazy too. Like the momentum did not go down until it had to,
right?
Like everybody else. But like that's crazy. That's cool.
I would say because of our choices, our momentum didn't go down.
Yeah.
Our momentum increased and accelerated. The money went down.
Yeah.
But the momentum didn't. And that's huge, because if you can build on momentum, you build on the idea of going back to what you said at the beginning here, working for free. You know, like I fully expect that this show is going to have 1 million watchers per episode in the near future. It will be syndicated. We'll have a bunch of sponsors. We're going to get paid a bunch of money to do it. We're not getting paid right now to do it, right? We're doing this for free. We do it just to give and to love and to serve. And we started this during the pandemic as well. And now all of a sudden we have influencers such as yourself. We've got a couple other like huge people like lined up to be on the show. Have already been on the show, and it's incredible.
We've had almost all the major agencies in Arizona on here, and gotten to see their specific ways they like to run their agency, which is cool.
Totally.
Outreach,
And we had goals. We had like a big vision to get to a certain spot. Now we're approaching it, and we're like, we've moved our bar incredibly higher, because it's like, okay, well, we can't stick with that old limiting belief anymore. We've got to move forward and create new goals.
Yeah.
So what's your next goal? I want to hear what's the next. Do you have like a next like thing you'd like to hit?
Well, I have 2 goals. I wanted to hit close to 150 photo shoots by the end of New Year's. And then on top of that, since I do have a bigger following now, and it's continuously growing, I made a choice that, I do photo shoots almost every single day, and I don't see the point in promoting, fast fashion brands or big name brands. So I am partnering with the next 3 months or so. I already have like 50 product sponsors.
Wow.
So,
Whoa.
That's really cool.
That's amazing. And I want everyone to hear that first goal. The first goal was 150 photo shoots. Now guess what? That is not tied to money. It is not tied to, things that are outside of our control. It's not tied to, I'm going to have X amount of followers, because you some of those things you cannot control. But if it's 150 photo shoots, technically, you could offer to do a photo shoot for us for free, and that would count. That's 1. You could offer to do a photo shoot for your dad's company or whatever for free. That's 2. Like, that's within your control, and you can say, this is my goal. How I get there is sort of irrelevant. And I believe as long as I hit this goal, probably there's going to be some success, some money that comes along with it. Well, and that's a good goal.
That's where the hustle and grind comes in too. Yeah. Because when it's something you can control, then it's like, okay, cool, let's strap up, let's go. You know?
And so many people's goals are to be famous, to be on a big show, like a big particular show, or to have so many followers, or to make a living doing this. I hear that a lot. To get an agent, things that are out of their control. Whereas if I start putting in the systematic skill-based goals, like I'm going to take so many classes, I'm going to learn an accent, I'm going to master 10 monologues. Like, if you start doing those types of goals, the acting jobs that you audition for, you'll start landing those jobs because you've got the skill to back it up.
Yep.
Awesome. I love those goals. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so you've got last question here is about the resources that we recommend for someone looking to get into the commercial industry. Is that right?
yes.
All right. So first and foremost, you're doing a lot right. So taking acting classes is awesome. So keep doing that. Keep training always. Be in a class of some kind always. And just imagine it like if you're going to be a doctor, you need continual education to be great. So the industry changes, ideas change, the way you're going to act needs to adapt with the marketplace, and so you should always be working on your skill. That's number 1. Number 2, audition. So I wrote it in the book there, but you can get free auditions on the national websites. You just sign up for like the minimum subscription, and they can send you hundreds of auditions every day. So the more you do it, the better resources you have. And then reach out to different agencies and see like who's doing what in different towns and different countries and whatnot, because you're gonna very soon expand outside of Arizona. So stay loyal to who you have, who was there for you in the beginning. We believe in Priority Talent. They're a newer agency, but we love their vision and what they're doing, and we think they're going to be a major player here in not that long. And so so you're with somebody great here locally. Dive in, become like set a goal to just like serve them and be like, I could maybe be the actor that helps put this agency on the map. you know, and that's a really nice service-based goal. And then through that, you'll find that networking happens easier, and maybe, you know, landing agents in other markets happens easier. And, you know, it's funny to everyone who's looking to move away from Phoenix, listen to this story. This person moved to Phoenix to start their career.
Yeah.
And the reason I love Phoenix, this is just me personally, but I love Arizona. I think it's an awesome place to live, other than 3 months of the year when it's miserably hot. But if you could get away and travel during those 3 years, if you could be landing jobs, or 3 months, be landing jobs outside of Arizona. And for me personally, like, I love San Francisco. I love to visit.
Yeah,
San Francisco.
Hard V on that.
Yeah, like,
Visit.
I love New York. I love to visit New York. Like, it's awesome to go places and do things where it's like happening and buzzing, and then you come back here and it's like, it just sort of like works. Like, Phoenix is really nice. It's a really nice place to live. It really is.
For sure.
So, so take that with you and understand, everybody, that don't think that you need to be limited by your geography. It's really not about that. Go ahead.
And you talked about just a second ago, setting a goal to be the person who puts the agency on the map, or the top earner at the agency, or whatever. Didn't Leanne set a similar goal to that when you guys signed years ago?
She did.
You know? I think that would be a cool thing.
Yeah, so we did this
on.
thing. We would create vision boards back when you would use magazines and things for that. And so we would cut out little pictures of different things, and we would put on our vision board what we would see our future to be like. And she barely had been signed. She was scared, she didn't have much confidence, and she put on her vision board that she was going to be the local agent here. Leighton was going to be their top earning commercial actress. But it was about them. It wasn't about her. It was about, like, it was like, if this thing came true, like, I need a certain amount of skills to make this happen, or whatever. And it totally happened. I mean, within like 3 months, she was or not 3 months, I'm sorry, 3 years, she was the top earner at their place. And it was like, what?
Yeah.
I need to put that on my vision board.
Where do you get these magical vision boards?
I love that story
Yeah.
so much. I think about that like all the time, just because that's the idea of manifestation, setting your goals in the right place for service, not for self.
And you got to want it too. You know, you got to, and speaking of getting over limiting beliefs, when I met my wife, she told me flat out, like, I'm not pretty enough for commercial acting. That's what she said. She's ridiculous, obviously,
Crazy.
but that's what she believed. She's like, I'm a theater actor. Like, I belong on the stage. And I was like, we're going to change that belief here real quick. So I love that. That's a very cool thing. And then as far as the other thing, like, looking to get into the commercial acting industry, I want everyone to take your advice, actually, and to learn from you today. And that is, do it. Offer to give and to do for others. We had Katie Lou just do this recently. So this young girl, she's a teenager. She writes a song that was like a parody duet song thing. And it was very touching, and it was really nice and connected to teenagers and their emotions, and connected back into our studio and what our studio means to her and her friends. And it was delightful. But essentially what she did was write a commercial for us. Essentially, through this thing, she was loving us and loving her friends through her talent, and it got her attention. It got our attention, and we're sharing her, and we're like posting her. Then she doubled down. Now we're gonna have her on the show, and it's like that all came from an idea of giving, of serving for free, just because, like, hey, I want to give back. And then that type of thing always will come back to you. So there's nothing stopping you right now from doing commercials. If you're sitting at home waiting for your agent to call you, that's going to be a problem. But if you're looking out, cold calling other people and going, hey, can I serve you? Like, what could I do for you? Like, you DM people like, hey, is there something I can do for you? Eventually you can book your own jobs. You can be full if you want to. And then you start earning your way to the place where now I've got a following, or I've got a whatever that's now valuable, and now I can attach a price tag to it.
Absolutely.
Well, you're killing it. We're very, very grateful that you came on our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Do you have any last words, last thoughts for our audience here?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
That's okay. That's great. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, Joey. I'm gonna slowly end the show the way I normally end the show.
Okay.
But instead of cutting to our graphic, we're gonna cut to Brian's workout routine, so everyone can see how Brian works out and what he does, his version of powerlifting, while we end the show.
Great.
All right, this is for your visual enjoyment, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share, comment.
I think you're going a little too fast. Just a little.
Okay. Well, I'm really fast at this stuff.
No. I'm talking about Matt.
Yeah.
Not
subscribe to the channel, and really, literally help us share this light-driven content to the planet. Keep burning, Brian.
I'm burning.
Keep burning.
You know what?
Oh, he's going to hurt himself. Thank you, and God bless.
Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Why'd you
Have
stop?
a Deering day, everyone.
Camera's still on you.
Brian, why would you stop?
Brian.
Why? No.
Well, that's about the amount of time.
Never stop till you hear cut.
Yeah.
Ever.
What the heck?
Start over. Let's just start the show.